Hey, beautiful soul. Welcome in for your weekly reading for November 7th through November 14th, 2025. This one is a lot, so buckle up. It's all good things. As we know, clarity is what I like to give just because, like the weather report, I feel like the more that we can have a little bit of heads up, the more we can choose accordingly to bring a raincoat or or not. This first card that we are looking at today is this King of Swords. Now, with King of Swords, and if you notice by the card, this does not mean it's assigned to a specific gender. This could be you. This could be someone that embodies this energy that is around you in your life. But this card has to do with rising above the emotional noise, the stress, what we are seeing in the media, what people are telling us, right? Think of like a wise, gracious, loving king who has several subjects telling their proverbial side of the story. And that king needs to rise above to really take an overview, take an account of what everyone is saying, but really tune into that overarching truth and wisdom. And in this king really is very balanced in their emotions, but is not using purely emotions to make this decision, is using a deeper wisdom, using that connection to that soul source, right? That higher self, looking at not necessarily what do I want in this situation, but what is of the highest good for me and all involved. And if this relates to you, you might be being asked to make a decision that is of the highest good this week for you and all involved. And remember, sometimes we're asked to make these decisions even when we don't like all of the options on the proverbial menu. So let's go to this next card because I think you'll see as this rolls out that this really is the grounding underpinning for this week, is tuning into that wise, heart-centered, but also open to highest wisdom and truth actually in any situation. This next card goes perfectly along with this. This is this Ace of Cups. Now, Ace of Cups often has to do with new beginnings, new opportunities around our emotions and around those things that create beautiful emotions in our lives, relationships, family. So part of making this highest and best decision for all involved is the most loving choice so that this new energy can roll out. And remember, with this cup spilling over, we need to fill ourselves up emotionally, often physically, right? And be able to give from what is overflowing and not give from a well that is not filled up. Now, for some of you, this won't be true for everyone. This is a general reading, but this little tiny blue heart that's popping up out of this cup can indicate a pregnancy, a new member of the family coming in. So for those of you that are not intending to get pregnant, I would be preventing in whatever that means for you. But just knowing that there's a leveling up of our emotions, of our connection, of what is available to us with our life experience right now. Okay, let's keep going because as this rolls out, hopefully it'll be a very clear message for you. Now, this Two of Wands, and it's interesting that we have so many of the suits here this week. This Two of Wands indicates a choice to be made. Now, clearly this person is grabbing this initial wand, maybe turning away from this choice. Often to say yes to one option is to say no to another. And it doesn't mean we have to judge the other option as bad. Just realizing, what do we want, right? And if you notice, this person is also looking on a phone of some kind. So getting the information that we need, those collective components to make the choice, but really also facing towards what is it that we're wanting to create in this next phase in our life? What are you passionate about? What are you feeling called to? What is, again, in this highest and greatest good for you and all involved? And sometimes it means we have to step away from one choice to make another choice. Now, it doesn't feel like this is an urgent, imminent choice. If you notice, the water in the background here is smooth. Everything feels like a clear, sunny day, right? But just knowing that choices are going to need to be made either this week or just around the bend. So collecting information, not just from outside sources, although if you're trying to start a business, for example, that could be a piece of what you're considering, but collecting information from, again, this wisest, truest version of you, from that soul self, about who you're trying to step into in this next phase. Who do you want to be? What is the life you want to have? And lining up your choices accordingly to create that next for yourself. Now, like we talked about, sometimes choosing one thing requires stepping away from someone else. That brings us, or something else, someone or something sometimes brings us right to this next card, this Six of Swords. Six of Swords is about recovering and beginning that healing process after a change or a challenging time. Now, if you notice, this little person in the boat is looking exhausted, maybe a little bit disheveled, but they have a guide with them. They have someone that is ushering them to safety, and they are moving away from what no longer serves them. They've made their choice. They've made peace with it. They've made the wisest and truest decision for themselves about their own life, not blaming others, right? And it doesn't mean that everything is settled or that all the pieces have fallen into place yet, but this is moving away from a difficult or challenging or painful situation to seek new ground, to start the next chapter of your life. So for some of you, this can relate to any area of your life. This might be changing the way we orient to a relationship, changing the way we orient to work, or to can't even be being honest with ourselves about what our passions are, what we do want for the next part of our lives. But just notice where your thoughts are going as we're talking about this, because this is a really good card, even though, we know change and rebuilding a foundation can be uncomfortable and sometimes feel like a lot of work. It really is how we step into next chapter, new energy for ourselves and our lives. Now, this final card is a little bit interesting as it relates to all of this. And for me, it really seals in the message of this week. This is the Death card. Now, as we've talked about many times, death does not mean in a literal sense, right? If we think about the seasons, fall is when the leaves fall away from the trees and the trees appear to be not living anymore, but they're not. They're just dormant. Sometimes something has to fall away to make room for something new, to make space, to create options for ourselves. Sometimes when we're only in one direction, we're closing out other options. So it looks like something is going to have to fall away for this new energy to really be available, for us to really solidify our path in a new way. I also feel like this is a bit, not only as it relates to our individual lives, but as it relates to our collective world. I want to say this. We are in crazy times, y'all. I think we all know that right now. And I think we do need to see a falling away in some areas. I think we do need to see highest wisdom and truth being honored, right? I think that we are in very deceptive times and very destructive times. But the only way to change is for the old to fall away so that we can reunite and create something new, so that we can come together and have a rebirth or even a resurrection of things like truth and honesty and empowerment and thinking of the collective, right? We talked about it with this card, and this is how it applies to the overall energy and not just in your own life, is we have to think about what is good for everyone, not what is good for just the rich or just the few or just the privileged, but what is going to be in the highest and greatest good for everyone involved. And sometimes that means that we have to let go of certain patterns or programs or beliefs or institutions in order to step into the new, step into something beautiful and wonderful that can better serve all of us actually as an end result. So let me know how this energy is showing up for you today. If you are not already on my VIP email community list, I would love it if you were. I am going to be having exciting free workshops kind of peppered in, sprinkled in throughout the end of the year and into the new year. So if you are feeling like you are hungering for community, for a place that is safe, that you can do this internal work, that you can receive healing, and that you can learn how to step more fully into that next chapter energy of your life, please go to my website, joyfulmedium.com. Right on the homepage, there will either be a sign up for one of the free workshops or a free mini course, and that will add you to my VIP email community so you can learn all about everything that is coming up. Big hugs as we really charge full force into the month of November. Lots of love. Bye for now. I will see you soon.